What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Horning's Hot Rods. So, gotta pull the motor back out of this car. Gotta finish up the engine compartment and get it painted. That way, it can be done and masked off when I paint the rest of the car. So, transmission's gotta come out, and then the engine's gonna come out and get put on a stand. So let's get started. So a reason for this thing to come out is, as you can see, I got some bare metal here. Everything's just kind of worse for wear. I want it to look somewhat nice, somewhat decent. Somebody welded up down there and down there. I don't know, that could be factory, but given the amount of work that's been done with the rest of this car, those are probably cracked, and somebody decided they were going to try and fix it. So anyway, gotta clean this up. I did patches on the toe boards. Can't really see it from here, but I gotta finish the butt welds all the way across, get those cleaned up, and then paint the firewall, paint inside the fender aprons, clean everything up. I might come in here with a bucket and soapy water, actually scrub it down, because I want the paint to stick. But engine's got to come out. Thankfully, I only put 4 bolts in the transmission, and I can reach them from up here. So I might just support the trans with a jack and separate it from there. Anyway, we're gonna get started. engine's out. Pulled the trans. Kind of glad the camera quit recording because I almost dropped that. But so here's what I'm talking about. Kind of see. Let me turn on some light for you. Kind of see the spot welds or the stitch welds that aren't completely done, both sides. I gotta finish that up, clean this up, and paint it. So I'm gonna pull the car back forward, throw it back up on jack stands. Probably not as high as I had it before, but get it on jack stands. That way it's right in your teeth. But, alright, we'll do that real quick. Alright, so I gotta finish this up all the way down. Same thing over here. This metal's super thin and a pain in the ass to weld, but once I get that welded up, come in here with sandpaper, scuff this old, I don't even know what kind of paint it is, but it's cracking. And I'll paint it all back up, get it all nice and clean, go in and All right, it took me a couple days, but I got it all cleaned up. Pulled it out of the garage, out into the driveway, kind of washed it down best I could. It was super cold outside, so I really didn't put a whole lot of effort into it. Hopefully it doesn't show up in the paint job. Anyway, there's a couple things that I'm still going to have to do after I paint it, which will require me to touch the paint back up. If you look, let me just pull you in right here. So that hole, some point in the history of this vehicle, so those holes are for the hood hinges. And at some point in the vehicle's history, the nutsert, which looks like this, it's just got a flange that's kind of pressed into the metal, and it's a nut, tore out of it, and the individual who decided to do the repair just took a piece of flat metal and pop riveted it in place behind it, drilled a new hole, and tack welded this thing in place. Problem is, as soon as I pulled the bolts out, it broke free again. So I'm gonna go in and I'll cut them out, and I'll actually patch the hole with fresh steel, and then I'll probably do the same thing and weld this, but not just one measly tack weld. So I'll have to do that, and then I'll have to touch up the paint afterwards, but I want to get this bare steel covered up. I say that as the rest of the car is still bare steel. So the next step is to get it warmed up in the garage here. It is 50 or 48 degrees in this place, and I need to get it up to like 70. So I'm gonna turn on the little ankle burner that's sitting over there, and I am going to get it warmed up in here, and then I'll come back and grab you, and we'll throw some color. Actually, we'll throw some body filler on the two patches on the side, and then we'll go and we'll throw some paint on this thing. So yeah, I'll come back and get you. All right. Threw a little bit of putty down. Let's see. Oh, let's see if this shit works. And this side probably isn't even ready, but I'll just go real light with it and see if it'll sand. I might have to reapply on this one and let it sit a little bit longer, because to be fair, it does say apply thin coats. I don't know if this really quantifies as a thin coat. Alright, let me set you down real quick. Where did I put? Where did I put the spreader? Alright. No. Which one do I want to go with it? If it's too much, it's alright. I'll just peel it off. Alright, I'm not gonna mess with that anymore. I'm gonna reposition you and I'll just avoid spraying paint in this general area and we'll get some paint on the rest of this. Alright, so it's flashed off. I'm just stepping on things. Anyway, you can see I got a couple thin spots, that's alright. So I only bought 2 cans, and I think I'm gonna need 3, maybe 4, so I'll probably go buy 2 more cans, but I have to admit, it looks a lot better than it did. I think flat was a good choice. But I'm gonna shoot the second shot in, shoot the second coat, let that one cure, and then I will show you the final product. Well, second coat is down. Still not perfect. You can see a little thin there. Couple runs. But the places that you're gonna see and like pay attention to look pretty good to me. Shock towers are all nice and clean. Still a little tacky up on the corners there. This upper firewall is what you're actually going to be able to see. That looks pretty good to me. And that as well. So, I have to say, I am pretty pleased. Again, not looking for perfection. This is not a show car. Sure, I want it to turn heads, but how many people are actually going to be popping the hood of my on this thing? So, looks pretty good. I will probably get a couple more cans, but I won't film that. And then gotta get this car back up on the jack stands so I can finish out underneath and do the rubberized undercoating. Here are those patches. Again, not perfect, but it used to have this big bubble right there on both sides. And at least now it's relatively flat. You can see this is still pretty thin. You got, but all right, well there you have it. We got this engine compartment cleaned up pretty nice, if I don't say so myself. Still some more things to do, but majority of the work is done. Got to finish out the underside of the car, get it. I'm gonna do seam sealer, rubberized undercoating, and get that done. Once that's done, engine and trans will go back into the car, and then start prepping to get some primer on this thing, as well as bring the doors, the hood, and the front fenders, as well as the front valance, up from the basement, get them installed and like set in place so I can get all my gaps right. I do have, probably the next video is going to be working on the fitment of the rear valance. I put out a short, hold on, let me squeeze back here. Put out a short earlier this week, and I talked about the gap. Let me turn on the light here. The gap here, how it's wide on the bottom and real narrow on the top. I'm gonna have to finesse the quarter panel to get it to fit the contour of this taillight panel. So that'll probably be the next video. It'll be shorter, I think, than this one. So that'll be next. because I gotta get gaskets and a bunch of other items for the engine before I put that in, as well as get the seam sealer and rubberized undercoating on the bottom of the car. So got plenty of things left to do, but would you just look at that? I have to say, I'm pretty pleased with myself. It's not perfect, but I have to say it's pretty good. So, more to come. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already. If you haven't done so, I appreciate the support. Hit the little notification bell if you want notifications on when the next video drops. And leave a comment or share it with a friend of yours that you think would enjoy this. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight, or today, or the past week. Yeah, it's been a week. And I'll see you next time.